Hi, and welcome to the Packer TV. I'm Dean Cooper.
And I'm Tamara Furlansky. The Packer TV is the place for all of your industry news.
Now, hopefully everyone out there had a great Labor Day long weekend, but it is bittersweet because to me it signals the end of summer.
You know, I feel the exact same way, Dean. But you know what, a little later we'll tell you why Labor Day doesn't necessarily mean the end for table grapes.
Here's what you'll see on today's show.
Restaurants spend the summer struggling.
Produce companies grow in the Heartland.
And a lighter pear crop ahead for buyers. Well, the beginning of 2010 brought optimism to the restaurant industry. That feeling has since been replaced by uncertainty for many operators. Ashley Bentley says rising food costs are partly to blame. After reaching a 2-year high in March, the National Restaurant Association's Restaurant Performance Index continued to slip for the 4th straight month in July. Inflation in wholesale food prices is playing a role in keeping sales in the red. With more, here's Hudson Reilly, Senior VP of the Research and Knowledge Group for the NRA.
Wholesale food prices are up a hefty 5.4% in July over year earlier levels. This is driven by double-digit gains in certain commodity groups, for example, produce, certain dairy and meats. And this does put additional pressure on operator margins since food and beverage purchases account for roughly 1/3 of the restaurant industry sales dollar.
Ashley is here now with more on how companies in the American heartland are growing. Take a look.
The nation's heartland is becoming more self-sufficient when it comes to produce. In addition to sourcing more fruits and vegetables from local producers, Midwestern companies are also processing closer to home. Kansas City-based C&C Produce is launching a new company called Cool Creations to handle fresh-cut fruit and vegetables for both food service and retail. Its retail line debuted in Hen House and Price Chopper stores Labor Day weekend, replacing Ready Pack and Garden Highway products. Other wholesalers in Des Moines, Omaha, and Kansas City areas are expanding their processing capabilities. This is Ashley Bentley for the Packer TV.
Ashley has been a busy worker. She recently took in Food Now in Kansas City with the Packers' Chuck Robinson. Here is Chuck with a recap of the event.
I went on a date recently. Luckily, both of our spouses said it was okay. Packers staff writer Ashley Bentley and I attended Food Now, a fundraiser for 3 groups that support the local food movement in Kansas City. More than 300 people gathered on August 28th for cocktails on a downtown rooftop. That was followed by a meal of donated food provided by local suppliers, prepared by local chefs, and served al fresco on a 2-block-long dinner table. Prominent among those attending were Cisco, the food service giant, and Ball's Food Stores, a major KC area retailer and locally grown food proponent.
The local food movement is definitely eating well tonight. We've got local food producers here in Kansas City for the Food Now event. They come together with suppliers as big as Cisco, retailers like Ball's Foods. Everybody's gathered here tonight for a rooftop cocktail hour and then a dinner downstairs.
This event was such a success that a second event for next year is already in the works. This is Chuck Robinson for the Packer TV.
Unlike last year, Pacific Northwest pear grower shippers aren't expecting as big a crop, and slightly higher prices appear to reflect the lower supplies. Steve Black, a salesman with Sage Fruit, says a long, cold, wet spring that hit the region will leave its mark on the pear crop. Roger Pepperell, marketing director for Stamilt Growers, agrees with the assessment of the size issue, but adds Bartlett quality should be strong nonetheless. Pear Bureau Northwest says the crop a year ago produced a record 20.1 million boxes, eclipsing the old mark of 19.8 million in 1997-98. The 5-year average is 18.3 million boxes. Bartlett's began shipping the last week of August.
Labor Day marks the final stretch for many California fruits, but for table grapes, it's just the start of the second half. Sean Stockton, CEO of Sundale Sales, says fall is our prime time. The year's volume should hit 3.5 million cartons, more than double Sundale's production of just 4 years ago. The big uncertainty for grower shippers is whether the late start will translate to a later season end. Not likely, says John Pandel of Pandel Brothers. That company is counting on a 24-week harvest, down from the usual 26-week harvest. Now that doesn't sound like much, Pandel says, but when you start 6 million cartons in the hole, it takes time to catch up. And staying with grapes, we head into Pamela's kitchen to test out the Pandel Brothers' new grape cube. Let's see how it works.
Hi, I'm Pamela, and we're in my kitchen where I put value-added produce to the test. And today I have something new and exciting. It is Pandel Brothers Grape Cube. Check it out. So I'm going to run the sink in through these holes. See, it runs out the bottom. And when you're done, you shake out the excess. And it's ready to open. Okay, it's designed to be where you can close it up when you're done and put it back in the fridge, which is pretty cool. And here we are. Here is a bunch of grapes, and they're nice and clean. And I'll toss the rest back in the fridge. So what do I think? I think it's great. I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10 on the squeezy fruit scale. And it was going to be a 9 out of 10 until I noticed, and I looked for it. It's a #1 recyclable. I can toss that in my recycling, and so that's pretty great.
In today's Packer Editorial Board opinion piece, Greg Johnson talks about why the Perishable Agricultural Commodities Act is more valuable than ever.
The produce industry has never taken its rights under the PACA for granted, and it shouldn't start now. USDA reopened the comment period for a proposed rule on trust protection and post-default payment agreements under PACA. The spirit of PACA has always been based in responsible business practices from buyers and sellers. Companies should be allowed to set payment terms longer than 30 days and keep their trust rights. PACA gives value to the industry, but it comes with a price, as annual license fees will nearly double this month. At least the industry can see its money goes to good use. If only all government fees and programs could be so clear. This is Greg Johnson for the Packer Editorial Board.
Thanks, Greg. Now, do you feel strongly about PACA? Share your thoughts below this player.
And if you've missed any of the previous opinion segments, be sure to get caught up in our archives.
And we will see you next week.